morning, everyone. It is Aaron, the Carnivorish guy now. Changed the name from the average Carnivorish guy, well, the average keto Carnivorish guy, to the Carnivorish guy. The average keto Carnivorish guy was kind of long. I debated about removing the average part because average could mean a couple of different things. So, what I'm making a video here about is, there's a lot of people I follow online, YouTube and stuff. Been doing this a long time, and I just have been doing this about 10 months now. So I just wanted to share a little bit of what I've learned in the last 10 months. Be a little bit longer video maybe, but not too bad. But I think it's important, especially for new people trying the carnivorish lifestyle, the keto lifestyle, any type of major change like that. I say carnivore. This is just coffee. It's not full of coffee, but it's just a nice warm mug. I just wanted to say, hey, what's up? And just share those few things with you. So, one, I'm not perfect. I've definitely learned in the last 10 months I am definitely not perfect when it comes to making my choices for food. Whether I made bad choices or I accept that, I can't do carnivore 100% clean, or the way some of your quote-unquote real gurus say you should do it. I said from the beginning, I'm not going to be the guy who can go ahead and afford all the grass-fed beef, fancy cuts of beef, anything like that. And that's okay. You can do carnivore without it. You can do keto without it. You can do whatever choice of life you can with affordable meat. Is it always fun? No. And of course my cat's coming here to say hi. Would I want to be able to do the more affordable cuts of meat? Of course. Would I get better results? Yes, but I'm sorry. When I say I'm average, I'm average. I pay bills like everyone else. I have a budget to go by. There's times when you get by paychecks to paychecks. That's life. But you don't have to be perfect to do this. You just have to know when you make a mistake or you do a slip up of any kind and move on from it. You got to accept it and move on. I've done that, and there's been a few times when I just wasn't even sure, darn it, I did this, and, I kind of beat myself up for it. And what I always tell people, we got to accept what you did. You got to forgive yourself because no one else is going to forgive you. How can you ask someone else for forgiveness if you don't forgive yourself? And you need to move on. And, I'm getting back to that strong life frame of mind, excuse me. Perfection is definitely not me. I've made mistakes along the way. I've had cheats along the way. I got through the holidays pretty good. I didn't, I didn't cheat too much. I mean, I did have cookies and stuff. Sorry, now my dog wants to be part of the show, and the cat still wants to mess with my laptop. But, it's hindered my results, of course. I'm still floating around that same 30 pounds range lost, floating between, I got down to 202 right before Christmas. And then, I went back up right after Christmas. I got back up to 216. But again, that could have been a lot of water weight, especially from eating all that junk. And then, I got back down to that 208, 209, 206, 209, and that floating range. So that's where I'm back to. I'm back to that floating range. But still, almost 30 pounds in 10 months. That's great results. It's still, you're losing more than, 2 pounds a month or 3 pounds a month, basically. That's a safe way to lose weight. I know there's people that, I dropped 20 pounds. Well, maybe they have more weight to lose. Maybe they're in a worse metabolic state than I am. But, hey, everyone's got to do it their way. And what I've done has made it sustainable. Do I want to be better? Of course. So, perfection. Definitely, I'm not there. I have learned accountability is important. As I said when I started making these videos, and I've gotten away from my videos a little bit, I need to be accountable. And if no one watches my videos, that's fine. But I make them, and I'm accountable to myself. I'm starting back this February 1st here today. No soda, giving up the soda again. I'm actually trying no cheese February as well. That is going to be an interesting one. Cheese is definitely a big hindrance for me. Oh, Sorry. Cat stepping on my phone. But yeah, no cheese for this month. The only cheese I'm going to accept for myself is when I make meatballs. And this cat is getting very annoying. He's very old, so we got to love him. He's almost, 19, 18? That's Gizmo. He just, we let him do what he wants. He's old. But no cheese and no diet soda. Giving up the diet soda again. And not that I have negative impacts from my CGM and stuff when I'm wearing that. But I do feel I lose better when I'm not drinking diet soda. So we're back to there. And cheese is just honestly, it's not, in small quantities. The problem is I can't keep my small quantities. I'm going to snack on cheese. Before you know it, I ate a block of cheese, a whole package of cheese in less than an hour. So that's why I'm giving up cheese. Not because it's not carnivore, not because I can't, handle it. I just can't moderate it. So that's a big thing. But I'm going to get back to my videos. May not weigh in every week. That part was a little bit with the accountability, but sometimes it's just getting a little depressing. And honestly, who cares what the weight is? As long as I feel better is what matters. So the accountability. Also, I've learned that on carnivore, I can't handle the 73 or the 73% there for the fat. 27% fat there. I need to go more 80-20 for my meat. I need to go a little bit leaner meat. And that's something that I feel better when I do that. When I go too high of meat, the fat percentage, I don't feel as good. I can feel in my stomach. And, I have to adapt. And since I've started adding a little bit more ground pork and chicken into my diet, some ground turkey. When I make meatballs, I'll mix like pork and the meat and everything. I feel better. I just feel better. And it's, I just think you got to learn. You got to learn. Not everyone can go the highest fat. Not everyone can go the leaner fat. You have to find what works for you and experimenting. And that's what I've been doing, finding what handles and where I feel optimal. Now, does it mean maybe I slow my results a little? Maybe. But again, this isn't I hit my year in a couple months and that's it. I'm done. Back to eating cookies and chips and all that. No, this is a lifelong commitment. So I'll get where I want to get. I know I will. But yeah, I've learned you got to experiment and you need to, find what's best for you. Remember, what works for me may not work for you. You may be able to eat 3 pounds of pure fat and the highest fat meat, all the time and be fine and get great results. I don't. I still eat my bacon, still cooking my bacon grease in my butter. I'm trying to also see if I feel better when I don't use as much like melted butter or bacon grease and stuff. I'm experimenting with that just to try and see how I feel. So yeah, experiment with your foods and find what works best for you. The next thing that I've learned. You're gonna try stuff you may not like. You gotta be willing to experiment. Sardine fast, very powerful. Did great results. I'm gonna do one again. Adding liver into food. Try something different. That's a great way to experiment. Chop up some beef liver, chicken liver, mix it in your meatballs, meatloaf, whatever you're gonna do. That's a great way to experiment with some of those flavors. Piggybacking and not being perfect. If you slip up, not everyone's pure carnivore. It's tough. Pure carnivore is tough. I like seasonings. I like mustard. I like making some mayo or some healthy mayo on with my roll-ups or something. I eat processed food. So it's okay. It's all right. Don't beat yourself up if you like that and you feel you can't do carnivore because, hey, you don't want to give up your spices. You don't have to give up your spices. Just learn what affects you. If you can cut something out, eliminate something for a little while, and see how you feel when you add it back, that's a great way to go. You can definitely do this on a budget. I have to do things on a budget. I'll eat processed meat. I'll eat lunch meat. That's fine. Works for me. I can't just eat beef and eggs all the time. I can't. It's just, you get bored. And what happens when you get bored? You start seeing that, oh, look at that. Let me grab that extra cheese. Oh, look at that. Oh, just one cookie's not going to hurt. Well, true, it may not hurt, but in the long run, one cookie leads to 2 cookies, to 3 cookies. And next thing you know, you've ate a bag of Oreos and you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. So it's okay. Exercise is important. Exercise is definitely important. I don't do enough of it. And, I do my umpiring in the summertime, but that's not really enough exercise. That's not enough. It could be something as simple, just doing a little bit of a walk and a little bit of light lifting of some weights or something, or just standing up and sitting down from your chair. Just something, get your body moving, get your body out of what it's used to doing. If you're just used to sitting around all the time, any change is good, any movement's good. And then increase your movement, increase your strength training. But you don't have to be in the gym for 6 hours a day, 7 days a week pumping iron. You can get away with a half hour of activity a day, and it'll improve your results. It will. Patience. Had to learn patience. Rome wasn't built in a day. I didn't get to be 350 pounds overnight. Why am I shocked that I'm not down to 160, 170 pounds in 10 months? Yeah. It's not realistic to think that you're going to lose it all, you're going to be healed in no time. But that's okay. Your weight is going to be where it's meant to be. If you're doing everything right, you're putting the best food in your system, you're doing everything you can do everything 100% perfectly fine, and you don't see results on the scale. Oh, it's okay. Do you feel the results in your pants? Do your clothes fit a little bit better? That's what's most important. Do you see it maybe when you look in a mirror? Maybe a little bit like the chin's disappearing. You notice the thinness in your face. Like I noticed over the holidays, I got a little of this backward before it was coming down. That's why another reason I'm going to start making my videos again and get back onto that is just because I got to be accountable to myself, and that's the best way. I get lazy. So does everyone. Everyone gets lazy from time to time. And I guess the other thing that I've learned is support is key. Whether it's family support, whether it's friend support, or you join an online community like Carnivore Quest Online, Chris Cook in Nashville, you got Dr. Barry's groups, Jenny Middich is out there. There's tons of groups you can join and just be part of a community and be able to throw things off people. In a lot of these groups, you don't have to pay anything for. You don't have to be a member to partake in their lives that they do and stuff like that. Yeah, do they do things if you maybe throw a couple dollars a month? Of course they do. A couple extra maybe members meetings, things like that, some recipes. But just having people that know what you're going through and to talk to, because, as I said, sometimes, hey, give me that. Sorry, dog going after a shoe. But, even though they don't mean to be, sometimes your household members are your biggest hurdles. Not because they're not agreeing with what you're doing, not because they're not supporting you. It's just because they want to still continue in their lifestyle, which is fine. I try to get people to lean this way, but I'm not going to just say, oh, you can't eat this. Like, you have to be willing to make this choice. You try to force carnivore on someone, they're going to be miserable. But I try to help them make better choices. So make sure you have some support there. Someone you can talk to. Someone you can throw stuff by. Someone that understands what you're going through. Someone who knows what it's like when you fell off the wagon, got back on track, and now you can't be more than 10 minutes away from a bathroom because, you get the runs or something, because your body's switching back to being fat adapted. So make sure you have support. Someone that understands and can help you along the way. It doesn't have to be someone in your household. Does it help? Of course. But, join a group. There's plenty of Facebook groups, YouTube, Instagram probably, things like that. But that is definitely, that's huge. Having that support to help you along the way. And even, like if you're at a party and they see you having a little something, like, hey, what's going on? I thought you were doing that carnivore thing, instead of grabbing some cookies or something. But those are just some of the things that I've learned over the last year, 10 months now since I've done this. It's been a fun journey. I'm going to definitely continue on it. I'm just, hey, like everyone else, holiday season, December, January, it's always tough. It's tough, you find ways to slip up a little bit here and there. A couple of weeks ago I had a wrap. I had 2 wraps over the weekend, and I'm like, oh, and that's pretty good when you can figure out when you did cheat on your diet. Like I had a couple of wraps. It was a boss's birthday a couple of days ago. I had a couple of cookies at work. So it's good when you actually can just tell yourself, yeah, this is exactly when I cheated along my way or treated myself along the way. And don't beat yourself up. Just don't beat yourself up for having a treat. There's nothing you're going to gain. Oh, yeah, and I'll end you on this. The last thing I've definitely learned, no matter how many times I try cooking something that they're like, oh, if you want these carnivore biscuits, you want this, you want, like the substitutes? No, they do not work for me. I can't sit here and make a carnivore brownie, a carnivore biscuit, and be like completely 100% satisfied. Yeah, there's some good recipes out there that are good, that give you like a mimicking, but not saying it, but it's not a carnivore biscuit per se. I just can't get those egg tastes right. And for some of them, I just can't afford to buy all the special ingredients you got to use, to be honest. The milk powders and butter powders and whatever other powders that you could imagine that you need to use. But yeah, that's something else that I've learned is like, ultimately, if I truly want something, have it. Yeah, just have it. Because you're more likely going to just say, I really want that biscuit, that my grandma's homemade biscuit. I want one of those. You're more likely going to eat one of those and be like, okay, I'm good, and move on, than you are to make a carnivore treat or something like a keto treat, biscuit type thing. And then next thing you know, you're eating a ton of those, and those don't help you. Oh, yes. And from not being perfect. You can overeat on carnivore. 100%. You can overeat on carnivore. I know everyone says eat till you're comfortably stuffed, but know what comfortably stuffed is for you. It's comfortably stuffed is not necessarily I can't eat the last thing like, oh, that might have been past comfortably stuffed. But you can definitely overeat on carnivore. It is possible. Especially if you're eating like the processed foods and stuff. Like deli meats and stuff, because those go down quick and easy. Cheeses, things like that, quick and easy. A lot of calories. Yes, you don't count calories on carnivore, but food still has nutritional aspects to it. So keep that in mind. Carnivore doesn't just mean you can eat 30 pounds of bacon a day, every day, and you're going to lose weight. Probably get bored doing that, but still, be mindful of that. You can definitely overeat on carnivore and slow your results. So, anyhow, thank you guys for taking a look at this video. I know it's a little bit longer, almost 20 minutes, and I kind of jumped all over the place here a little bit. As always, I appreciate everyone's support in this, watching the videos, leaving comments, liking the videos. Thank you as always. Any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. As always, go Sabres! Go Bills. Yeah, that didn't end well. And I'm not even worried about baseball anymore. And the Bandits are not having a good year. So look how much has changed in the last year. We're going go Sabres instead of, oh, there's the Sabres. Hey, maybe that streak's coming to an end. Anyhow, hope you guys make good choices. And if you don't, forgive yourself, accept it, and just move on. Have a great day.